today's edition of Music Notes, we have a very special guest sitting right here, Mr. Tony Magee, founder, creator of Lagunitas Beer. Tony, how you doing, man?
Cool.
Cheers.
Cool. Glad to be here, man.
Thanks for bringing the beer.
The idea of beer and music being one thing, it's like, and I started my life wanting to be a musician, you know, and I thought I could get there, you know, but the truth is I could get about here, you know, and there are others who are great, and I have friends who I play with now that are professional musicians, and I was good, and they are great, and there's a reason why they're still working, and I had to find something else to do. So I found beer. Everything I needed to know, I didn't know that I was studying music so that I could learn to be a brewer and run a brewery. I mean, you know, it's as simple as, so I got this right here. So it's as simple as this, you know, and this is, most people know this, you know. Okay, so that's the malt, you know. You just start with the water and you got malt, you put them together, and now that's the groove, right? And now, you know, now we have hops that we use so much in, you know, craft brewing. And then there.
More hops.
Yeah, you get the idea. It's like, like even a beer recipe is counterpoint, and its range and its dynamics, and so you build the recipe one little piece at a time. Beyond that, I can sit and write a piece of music, put all the little dots on there, you know, I can write it out so that a guy could read it, and that page contains music no more than a clock contains time. It represents the potential for understanding music and expressing it. The clock gives you an idea of what the time is. And so if I sit and I write out a beer recipe, well, what's the difference between that and a sheet of music? Because that page that has a beer recipe on it doesn't contain beer either. Right. I have to hand that to performers who will then bring all of their experience, their specific artistry to it, their unique understanding of what it is I'm trying to communicate, and they'll add their own uniqueness to it, and a beer appears.
First beer recipe ever. Do you know about this?
Well,
of course you do.
Yeah, I understand there was a song they found on a tablet somewhere in Iraq. It was written in Sumer, and it described the process of making a beer, of the whole of the season of planting grains, you know, collecting them out of the fields, you know, pulling water, combining them, putting them in the vessel and letting them sit to ferment for a period of time when the spirits would enter it and do their magic and create the thing that they would later then sit around this giant urn with reeds that they would stick down in through the foamy, messy, scuzz-laden, you know, bacteria and yeast-ridden top, and into the center of it. The bottom had all sorts of scuzz at the bottom too, but in the middle they could draw relatively clear liquid, and they would drink that. And and in the last verse of the song describes how the process of doing this and then, you know, bringing this into your body would unleash the power of the Tigris and the Euphrates in every man.
That's amazing. That's just, it's a so poetic way of saying, like, getting drunk. Yeah. Unleashing the Tigris, unleashing the powers of the Tigris and Euphrates in every man. Every man.
What the song did was it changed it from being this natural phenomenon to being a reproducible event.
Okay.
You know, that was almost a ceremony. The making of beer it took a whole year to accomplish. But the truth is, like beer and wine have been making themselves forever. I mean, I grew up in Arlington Heights, and we always had crabapple trees in the backyard, you know. And, and I remember in the spring, the robins would come, and they'd just be macking on the fermented crabapples in the spring, and falling all over the yard, you know, and like, you know, kind of sleeping off in the corners and puking, and there'd be, who knows? I mean, I'll never forget seeing these birds
crabapple gluttons.
You know, I mean, we're talking about music, we're talking about, you know, beer, talking about community, you know, talking really, in the end, about tribes. And once you get community together, you start getting shared stories, you know, shared values, you know, shared ideas of order, and that becomes a tribe. The central thing that makes these tribes meaningful are the stories that the tribes share, a common knowledge base. If I play a melody, even if there's no words to it, it's a story. You know, if I make a beer, when you taste that, there's like a 3 or 4 second experience. You probably still have a little taste in your mouth of the bitterness in the back of your tongue. It's a story that gets told, you know. That's how a brand works, and it's how Lagunitas operates. And it's a cool thing when you start realizing that everything is really one thing, you know, and music is the key to understanding that one thing.
Diminished.